What's up, YouTube? This is your girl, Megan. Welcome back to my channel if you're already a subscriber. But if this is your first time joining me on today, be sure to hit that subscribe button because you know you want to. And I had to mess around and figured out how to screen record. I mean, it's like, this is beautiful. I might be kind of basic. This might be kind of late, but nonetheless, it's like this is such a beautiful thing because a lot of you guys have been requesting that I do a voiceover so that way I can share the charts in real time with you guys. So doing like a voiceover slash screen share or whatever you want to call it. So here is the solution. All right. All right. So without further ado, let's get started. So as you can see, I will be starting off this reading by doing just a brief spot reading of Kenya Moore's birth chart. And this is going to be a bit of a mashup because I don't really care to get into the entirety of every single person's birth chart. But these are a few of the requests that I have been getting for the celebrity readings. And, you know, they had a few interesting things that I feel like I can expound upon, but then I just kind of want to keep it moving after that. Okay. So starting with Kenya Moore, she has been in the news over the past month or so. She and her husband, Mark Daly, whatever his name is, because they are allegedly separated on their way to getting a divorce or whatever the case may be. And a lot of people kind of saw this coming because a lot of people felt like the relationship was going to be short-lived. Of course, Kenya Moore is one of the members of the Atlanta Housewives cast, right? So, I mean, you know, she's known for bringing the drama, and she's definitely taking advantage of the villain role that's been assigned to her. And she's also most notorious known for her issues with men, both on and off the reality TV screen. And so the whole situation with Mark Daly, I mean, they just had a little baby together. And yeah, a lot of people have been talking about it. So let's go ahead and get into this. Okay, so Kenya Moore was born January 24th, 1971 in Detroit, Michigan. I am not sure of her exact time of birth, so we're just going to refrain from using house placement. So as you can see here, okay, she's an Aquarius sun, which, I mean, you know, in and of itself can create a person who has a difficult time attracting men who are fully available, if that makes sense. Okay. A lot of women with Aquarius suns, and let's see how it's aspected. Yeah. Particularly Aquarius sun women can attract men who are not really available, emotionally available. However, in her case, I see her sun is sextiling her Neptune. Okay. That could actually even deal with her being like world-renowned supermodel, like an international supermodel. But yeah, so I mean, there's that. Now I do notice that depending on what time she was born, she could either be a late degree Sag moon or a early degree Capricorn moon. And I mean, with Sagittarius, once again reinforcing this theme of internationalism, because didn't she win like Miss America, Miss Universe, Miss USA, something to that effect? That would fall right in line with her being a Sag moon, as well as a lot of her behavior, because you could tell she's a very wild, kind of carefree, bold, and eccentric kind of personality. So, and that would be that's very much reminiscent of a Sagittarius moon. So I'm inclined to kind of go along with that. However, nonetheless, she has her moon squaring her Pluto, as you can see. Yeah, right here. And that could absolutely deal with her having the rejection from her mother. And it's also reinforced as with her Pluto at the 29th degree. That number 29 does deal with family and mommy issues. Okay. Her Capricorn being at the 9th degree, or her Mercury being at the 9th degree of Capricorn, can deal with her being an only child raised by older people. I think she was raised by her aunt. However, with her Mercury also squaring her Uranus in Libra. This could actually make her somebody who really seeks friendships and companionship. So she's not even really naturally that comfortable being by herself, which makes sense because from my understanding, and when I watched the show, she does tend to have like she has a tendency to always want to seek out relationships, right? And it can also make her very codependent. Also, that element of Capricorn, with her being a Capricorn Mercury, can make her rather opportunistic even in who she chooses to align herself with. It can also make her rather strategic and ruthless. Her Mercury is also squaring her Chiron, which is at the 6th degree of Aries, right? If you can, I'm trying to pull it up where you can see it. Yeah, bingo. Mercury squaring Chiron. Now that can actually deal with her being very argumentative, very confrontational, very combative, bossy, and it can even make her ruthless actually, and give her a very like self-preservationist one track way of mind. Like, we either we're gonna do this my way or not at all, which I feel like is also very apparent on the show. Now, getting down to the actual, the main reason why I even thought to look at her birth chart, when it pertains to her love life and her lack of luck with men, her Venus is at the 16th degree. Boom. A Sagittarius at number 16 does deal with catastrophe. And Venus in Sagittarius creates somebody who is very excessive when it comes to matters of the heart. Okay. Number one, they can deal in they tend to engage in a lot of long distance relationships. And y'all remember the last season she was on, when she first got engaged or she first got married to Mark, she didn't even shoot him on the show. Like, he wasn't even shown with her. They were literally engaging in a long distance relationship throughout their entire marriage, with him living in New York, her being in Atlanta. And it was like this whole melee as to like, oh, is he coming back down? Is she going to move up to be with him? That's very much Venus and Sagittarius, a long distance relationship. Also, it can create a person who is very idealistic in love, with the kind of, oh, love is going to conquer all mindset. And they could also deal with Kenya jumping into relationships with both feet, as there's a tendency for Venus Sagittarius individuals to, like, they love the whole act of falling in love. They view it as one big adventure, but because they can be so, I would even say, kind of childish in a way, or just idealistic in the way that they view love and relationships, this sets them up for failure. This could also set them up to jump in a relationship without fully gathering the facts, without fully gathering like a full understanding of who the other person is, and then having it all blow up in their face, which she's done, like, actually multiple times with her on-screen and off-screen romances. And I think the situation with Mark Daly is no different, to be quite honest. It could also deal with her adopting her partner's beliefs, like spiritual beliefs. Like, she could even be the type to conform the things that she believes in based off of her partner and who she's with. This could also deal with her having a fondness for men who are not necessarily the monogamous type. So she's definitely prone to getting cheated on, unfortunately. And this could also make her rather loose-handed when it comes to money, making her the type to overspend, lacking common decency. It can also make her kind of obnoxious. I also look at this Venus in Sag, is reinforcing her being like this international beauty, and her winning this the Miss America pageant, especially with her Venus sextiling her Uranus. That's definitely setting her up to be like this woman of prestige and like just this global international sensation. It can bring her a lot of luck, a lot of opportunity, in which she has had, Also, this is reinforced. Her tendency to attract men who aren't really ready to settle down is reinforced with her Mars being a Sagittarius. But that can also deal with her just being brutally honest. It can even deal with her being kind of promiscuous too, y'all. Which, hey. And also, if you look down here, her Mars is conjoined to her Neptune, which is, and I always say this even when I'm dealing with clients. And of course, it depends on what's going on in the rest of their chart. But, this could be kind of, iffy when it comes to dealing with men, or when I'm looking at a woman's chart, because it can deal with a woman who attract men who are very much prone toward keeping secrets, right? Men who are deceitful in some type of way. Even I've even seen this result in a woman dating a man who's in jail. Okay, or men who are just, like I said, very much deceitful. And it kind of reinforces this theme of her attracting men who are dishonest, and men who could be prone to cheat and have like ulterior motives and whatnot. So there's that. Her Mars is conjoined to her Jupiter, which like literally further reinforces her being so ridiculous and absurd when it comes to love. Yeah, you can see even up here, her Mars is sitting right there with her Jupiter. Yeah, it can deal with her making her very absurd and kind of reckless, making reckless, irresponsible decisions when it comes to men. But it can actually, this can also even deal with her attracting men who cannot control themselves. All right, men who have insatiable desires for sex. All right. So I mean, do what you want with that. And a lot of people were saying Mark Daly was cheating. But then again, they said, I wouldn't be surprised if she, like, that's like a reoccurring theme of her in her relationships, actually. So I mean, there's that. Her Venus is, if you take a look at her minor aspects, her Venus is forming a quincunx to her Saturn in Taurus, yeah, right here. And that could deal with her being rather selfish, self-seeking. It could also deal with her or entering relationships with men who are rather selfish and self-seeking. It could also deal with her dealing with men on the basis of like a financial arrangement, making some type of financial arrangement, or conducting business like relationships, which is also very interesting because a lot of people have suspected her of hiring boyfriends in the past. So, I mean, like I said, do what you want with that, but that could definitely be a manifestation of that aspect. Also, it can just deal with her having a lot of unhappiness in relationships. So I'm like, that sucks. But the jackpot, I would say, of all of her misfortunes as it pertains to love anyway, and men, is this Leo South Node. Boom. Okay. Being a Leo South Node gives you a lot of karmic issues with men as well as children. And if you remember, she had this big old thing about wanting a baby because she wanted this baby really bad. That's that Leo South Node. And a lot of Leo South Nodes, especially particularly women, either have issues conceiving, which she did, or there's something surrounding children. Some just don't want children, or some, adopt children, or maybe they have children, but their child has a type of ailment or something, or something that's really going to bring a lot of, like I said, misfortune, because karma is typically not pleasant. So there's like a lot of karmic debt associated with kids and men in this lifetime, which is naturally going to make Leo South Node women have a difficult time in these areas. And, so of course, in that same vein, she's going to have a difficult time with men. And that's why I kind of feel bad for her, because it's like, being a Leo South Node, like, sis, you're in for it. And I'm not saying that every Leo South Node is hopeless. You'll never find a man. You'll never have kids. But just know your quest to do so is going to cause you a lot of, you're gonna encounter a lot of problems. You just are. You just are. So yeah, like, I'm sorry for you, sis. Even though she's annoying on the show, like, she was definitely dealt a bad hand in that regard. So moving right along, the good old Stacey Dash. So Stacey Dash is, or I mean, she was a world-renowned actress. She was best known for her role in Clueless. And yeah, I mean, she was considered one of the most talented and beautiful actresses of the 90s, in which since then she has I mean, she's gone on to make an enemy of the black community because a lot of her views and her stances are very much Republican-y. I think maybe she does identify as a Republican, but she's very opinionated, and she has on several occasions voiced her opinions and her stances on politics and policies. Well, yeah, I guess you could say policies. And yeah, like, a lot of people accuse her of wanting to be a white woman, and she just kind of turned out to be not what a lot of people expected or hoped for her to be as a black actress, okay? And as a result, she kind of has been pushed out of the acting industry because, you know, Hollywood is run by liberal circles. And at some point, she was a correspondent on Fox News, but most recently, she got arrested for engaging in a domestic dispute. Her husband actually came out and said that she did not hit him, and but nonetheless, it was some type of domestic dispute. I don't know if she was saying he hit her or she hit him, or if she was fighting someone else. But, you know, so there's that. That's just that on that. Okay. So she was born on January 20th, 1967 in the Bronx, New York, making Stacey a Capricorn sun, Taurus moon. Now, the first thing I noticed off rip is that her sun is at the 29th degree of Capricorn, which could definitely denote racial issues that with the number 29. It can also produce a lot of conflict surrounding her racial identity and just who she is as a person. So she's definitely going through some type of crisis or something. This could also stem from a desire to align oneself with power, you know, because that's that Capricorn. So aligning yourself with particularly powerful men, okay? Her trying to appease these powerful men that she's with. I think her husband now is like a lawyer or something like that. This could also deal with her being opportunistic, but it can also deal with her being a conservative, okay? Capricorn is a very conservative sign, as is... Oh, no, never mind that notification there. Okay. But as is Taurus. Both are very much conservative signs. And that 29th degree can also just deal with her being so controversial. You know what I'm saying? Her being known for being so damn controversial. And it can produce a love for authority, a love for cops, you know, all the stuff that conservative people like. Protect the boys in blue. We love the boys in blue. We love our troops. We love our military. We love our guns. So she's kind of just set up to have a lot of predisposed feelings and connections with those things, okay? Also, her sun is opposing... Okay, it's making a direct opposition to her Jupiter. Okay, and that further reinforces her having issues with race, you know, because once again, Cancer does deal with race. You can view this as her having race identity issues within herself, not knowing how to really identify. But you can also view this as her even pissing off her own community. Okay, her having her being at odds with her own group of people, her own ethnic group, everybody kind of turning their back on her, okay, due to all of these controversial thoughts and opinions, especially with Jupiter dealing with your beliefs, at that 29th degree, very controversial beliefs on race and philosophical ideas, even religion, okay? And it can even, Cancer, or having your Jupiter in Cancer would typically traditionally kind of drive one to like look after their own group. But like I said, with all these other additional variables, that 29th degree, that opposition, it could definitely be black people being like, man, fuck her. And it could just deal with like lots of tension. You know what I mean? It could also deal with her being, like I said, kind of insecure. It can also deal with her struggling between either deciding to further her career or reuniting with her own racial group, or feeling like, you know, if I reunite with my racial group, I could have a career, versus like being true to like what the fuck I really like, you know, type thing. Her Jupiter in Cancer also makes her very religious. But once again, at that 29th degree, it's like OD. Like it, because the 29th degree also deals with extremes. So like her being an extreme religious, I don't know what to call it, but like, because I've just casually been on her Instagram and social media pages, and I look at the way she talks, and she's very Jesus-y and Christian-y and excuse me, all of that jazz. So I mean, yeah, there's that. Her sun is also forming a sextile. Even if you look down here, it's forming a sextile to her Saturn, right? So with that being said, that can deal with her. That can even point towards her being a Fox News correspondent right there, or her making a living, or even making some type of money off of her conservative views, being a conservative media figure. Particularly, especially with that Saturn and Pisces, it can put her on television. Okay, it could also deal with her lying to herself or being outwardly deceptive. So, I mean, do what you want with that. Her sun is also conjoined to her Mercury, like so, which deals with her taking pride in deviating from the status quo or deviating from the norm, especially with her Mercury in Aquarius, you see here at the first degree. It could deal with her being kind of weird, because I feel like she's naturally a weird woman, naturally a person who has been who's felt kind of outcasted all of her life in a way, even before she actually started vocalizing all of her stances and whatnot. This can deal once again with her opinions and political views, stemming or causing a lot of controversy. And this is also further reinforced with her Mercury opposing her Jupiter as well, as you can see, like so. It even deals with her being an outcast to her race, or once again, isolating herself. And, Jupiter, because it's so extreme and over the top, it can deal with her having very outlandish and controversial views just on race and society and the way society should be run, where people hear it and like, bitch, you smoking crack? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Which is how a lot of people view her, quite honestly. And then taking it back to that moon in Sagittarius, or excuse me, moon in Taurus, which can deal with her, like I said, being very conservative. And also it gives her like a lot of need for support, financial support even. However, with her moon also squaring her Venus in Aquarius, she could actually be more liberal than maybe she's letting on, but chooses to uphold a lot of her views, like her Republican views, and kind of like, I've gone this far, I'm just gonna stick with it, okay? Particularly for money, she's very money driven, capitalism driven. I mean, Capricorn does deal with capitalism too, so there's that. And or another way to interpret this moon squaring her Venus, right? Her making a square to her Venus at the 17th degree of Aquarius, can deal with her wanting to shock other people with her conservative beliefs. Like her wanting to come off as like, oh, I'm a trendsetter. So like, while everybody else is like democratic and doing this and doing that, and let me show y'all how against the grain I can be by coming out as a black person and being a Republican and having these very conservative talking points, these very right-wing stances on society. Her feeling like in her own way, that's her shaking the table. That could even manifest with that, and then on the other hand, her views could also make her lose money. Okay, that opposition could deal with her losing out on money. Like I said earlier, she's definitely been, I don't know if I have enough evidence to say that she's been blackballed, but I think it's safe to say that liberals run Hollywood, and it's like a club. It's like a clique thing. If people don't fuck with you, like they don't fuck with you. So, yeah, there's that. Her Mars is also squaring her Jupiter, which deals with her, it reinforces her being an enemy to the people of her community, or viewing black people. She could even view black people as her enemy, okay? Quite honestly. This could also deal with her playing the devil's advocate within the black community. That's that Mars in Libra. Always feeling like you can really like I have to be the one to say the other side of the situation, because let me even shit out a bit, okay? Because Libra is like the mediator, so like they live off of giving the other side of the aisle's viewpoints. So that could definitely cause her to land in a lot of hot water. But also, this could even deal with her having issues within her marriage too. Her having issues. I would even say like based on race, obviously with this Jupiter influence, but because the 29th degree also deals with third party interferences, she's probably getting cheated on. Let's just be, or it could go the other way around, but there could be some type of infidelity within their marriage. And there could be like a decision made to stay in a relationship for either business opportunities, or it could even deal with having a relationship that's just very unstable. Okay. Very unstable, a lot of infighting, a lot of conflict. And I could see it turning into violence. Especially at that 29th degree, because think of the 29th degree as a boiling point. It does carry like a lot of Aries energy, which can bring about violence. So, I would not be surprised. But also her being a Libra Mars could even deal with her adopting the views of her relationship partners too, which further reinforces my original point. Like maybe she's in addition to her having she probably does have natural instincts to, have the views that she has. But I also think, especially with her having a history of dating white men, she probably does kind of internalize and adopt. And because, Libra Mars individuals are highly impacted by other people. And in a woman's chart, this could be her husband and the men that are very prominent in her life. Like, so a lot of her issues on race and society and whatever can easily be impacted by these men, Also, and actually it reinforces her husband being a lawyer. I think he's a lawyer, that Mars and Libra, that he could absolutely be a lawyer. She probably has dated a few cops too. So there's that. Her moon forming a quincunx to her Mars. So in her minor aspects, moon quincunx to Mars, okay, could deal with her being violent. It kind of just reinforces this thing of her being violent, as well as her Venus forming a quincunx to her Pluto. Like, she can be very violent in relationships, and like it could go both ways, So that whole domestic dispute, it could very well happen. Now, something that I just found to be kind of troubling: her Saturn at the her Chiron at the 22nd degree of Pisces, and it's conjoined to her Saturn at the 25th degree of Pisces, can deal with Stacey not really being right in the head, y'all. But I'm pretty sure most people could probably figure that out. It can produce a person who doesn't know whether they coming or going. Like, she can be easily duped, especially with her Uranus opposing Chiron, right? Easily duped by other people. Or easily influenced, not understanding what's truly real versus what's fake. So making her an easy person to control. That's also point or indicated with that Uranus opposing her Chiron, her being controlled in some type of way. Her Uranus is also 1 degree off for Terra from the fixed star Terrabellum, okay, which can deal with a person being they can become very unpopular very, very quickly. Okay, somebody who's done all this hard work to climb up to a ladder of success, to just shake up the table and all of a sudden have people like not fuck with them. And that's definitely indicative of her career. And, in opposition to her Chiron, this could just deal with there being a lot of scandal around it. A lot of scandal surrounding her reputation. A lot of scandal surrounding her just being this type of actress that people do not, or black people do not like, And it can give her a very, very, very hard time. And also with her Uranus conjoined to her Pluto here, like so, I thought that was a very interesting hookup too, because it can deal with somebody who is very controversial because they have a disdain for feeling controlled. Okay. And that goes back to what I said before. I feel like she is taking the stance of being like this conservative person because she's like, oh, well, I'm not going to let people control me. So whatever the black community or whatever the popular narrative is in my industry, I'm going to take the opposite because I'm going to be a game changer. And you're not going to tell me how to think. And that's very much Uranus conjoined to Pluto. People who are like, I'm just going to do what the fuck I want. Period. And you're not going to be able to tell me what to do. Especially in Virgo. You're not going to be able to tell me what to do. So yeah. And then finally, she is a Scorpio South Node, which does make her, rather manipulative and strategic. So I don't think she's completely stupid. I do think she is obviously confused, and but it's very multi-layered as far as like how she chooses to present herself. And I feel like she's like I said, very strategic, and has a lot of the tendency to have a lot of tactics up her sleeve, being very manipulative and things of that nature. So, I mean, and I mean, with her being a Taurus North Node, honestly, within her, this lifetime, although people might not like it, the truth of the matter is, for just strictly from an astrological perspective, she is within her rights to be a more conservative person in this lifetime. She is. She is. You might not like it, but she is. Y'all thought I was finna cuss the bitch out, huh? I mean, you ain't gotta agree, but it just is what it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this new mashup style celebrity reading. Let me know what you thought of it, as well as how do you like the screen record functionality for this channel. Do you feel like it's easier to follow along, or what are your opinions on that? And feel free to comment on any of the celebrities that I just discussed. Also, all right, if you are interested in booking your own birth chart reading, hit me up at astrowerld@gmail.com. Okay, and also feel free to contribute, support this channel in any way that you can. If you have it, you got it to give, then, help your girl get some more sophisticated equipment so we can step our cookies up on this channel. And yeah, so with that in mind, make sure you guys practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until the next time we meet, I'll holla.